Yo. What's up? Hello everyone, welcome to the stream. Can you hear me? Can you see me? Let me know if the background music is too loud. Welcome to the stream. I haven't been maybe like a week and a half, 2 weeks since my last stream. I didn't mean to stop streaming, but some of you might know if you saw my last video, kind of taking like a little break, a little YouTube break. I didn't mean to take a break from streaming as well, but you know, sometimes you just don't feel like streaming. It's cool. But anyway, welcome to the stream. Don't really have anything very specific planned today, which is often the case. But, you know, we can just hang out for a little bit, hang out for a couple hours, and then be on your way. I know it's a little bit late for those who don't live in America. I apologize for that. I actually meant to stream a lot earlier, but I ended up taking a nap instead. But that's how it goes. But yeah, speaking of the break, my break is pretty much over now because it's pretty much time to start working on the next video, which should come out at the end of this month. And honestly, I mean, I could have started on it before now, but I was taking a break, so. I recently discovered your channel and I love your content. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you. To start out something light like religion. I mean, I see a lot of names that I don't recognize. I don't know if these is a lot of first time viewers of the stream, but pretty much anything goes. I don't really mind talking about anything. There may be certain things that the chat may or may not want to talk about. Sometimes certain things may be alienating to the chat. But I don't mind any questions. I'm a pretty open book. And my whole sort of philosophy, like the whole philosophy of my channel, is that it's okay to talk about things in a civil way, even if they are weird or controversial topics. I think people in general just have to get better at discussing things without going too ham, unless it's necessary. And of course, it doesn't have to be heavy subjects either. It can also be light stuff. That also happens on the stream a lot. It's totally fine. How did I get my hair so good looking? Well, I'm glad that you think it's good looking. I feel like not everybody thinks it's good looking, but um, for me, I am lucky, or if you want to say lucky, but just my hair type kind of naturally mats up like this when I stop combing it. So it just did it by itself pretty much. The only thing I really had to do in terms of maintenance is every now and then go and like pull it apart so it doesn't form one giant dread. Been watching your videos. How'd you get your hair so good looking? Oh no, sorry. Been watching your videos. I like your video essays. I combined two questions. I like your video essays. Pretty. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. One question I have: do you still use Heiko? I don't think I've heard you say it in a while. Curious if that's a deliberate change or if I just haven't noticed it lately. I don't. I think I have maybe mentioned it once or twice, but I don't say it in every video like I used to. However, Stay Heiko always appears at the end of my videos, so it is shown in every video. So that's a sign of somebody that cuts the video off when the sponsor message starts, which is fine. It's your prerogative to do that, but if you keep watching to the end, you'll see the Stay Heiko at the end. Any thoughts on the Britney Spears doc? I don't have any thoughts on the Britney Spears doc. I haven't seen it, don't really know anything about it. How long ago was my last haircut? Probably like 11 years ago. 11 or 12 years ago. Thoughts on Biden's performance in office so far? Well, I think that so far he's mainly done sort of the basics of what or at least what I wanted him to do, which is basically reverse most of the dumb stuff that Trump did, like, you know, like getting out of the Paris Climate Accord, reversing like travel ban, things like that. So kind of all those executive orders, basically like almost like housekeeping, like someone left a mess and he had to clean it up before he could actually get started on anything very unique. So I'm pleased with most of those things. As for any like very specific things that he's gonna do going forward, I still have to look into that, but I'm not sure that anything really major has gotten started. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm usually like a week behind on the news. Currently eating Trix. What's your favorite cereal? My favorite cereal is probably Raisin Bran Crunch, but I don't eat cereal that much these days. Cereal is delicious, don't get me wrong, but it is basically like they've tricked us into eating dessert for breakfast, which is probably not good. I mean, in fact, it's definitely not good for you. And I'm trying to eat healthier, but I don't always succeed at that, so I can't. It's not like I'm this super like healthy fit freak, but I am concerned about nutrition and stuff. And one of the things that I've just sort of semi-permanently cut out of my diet is cereal. Also, milk is like not very good for you either. But I can't deny that it's delicious. Cinnamon Toast Crunch is also really good. I think everybody likes Cinnamon Toast Crunch. I think if you cut it short, no one will recognize you. I think you're right. My hair has become a large part of my sort of image. In fact, that's happened before. I've done a lot of weird stuff with my hair throughout my life. And I've grown it long, although not quite this long before. And then when I cut it off, I remember I went to work and nobody knew who I was. They were like, are you supposed to be here? Trump is. Oh, what's up, Miles? Trump has been acquitted. What are your thoughts on it? I mean, I expected him to be acquitted. I don't know. It's not much of a surprise for me. So, yeah, I don't really know what much to say about that. Like, I think it's pretty clearly like a political maneuver by the Democrats, even though I think that Trump has been very impeachment worthy throughout his whole presidency, but pretty obviously sort of a political play by the Democrats. And as expected, the Republicans didn't agree to convict, and it's just politics as usual, it seems like. I don't know. I think that it would have been good if Trump had ended up being disqualified from becoming the president again, but I also think it's pretty unlikely that he'll become the president again in general. So, you know. If you're born a different race, do you think you would hold the same or similar political positions you do now? I have no idea. It's hard to. I mean, I think everyone's worldview and everyone's personality is shaped by their experiences and the conditions that they came up in. So I really don't know. Probably not. I don't know. I mean, I would definitely be a different person for sure. You mean specifically political positions? I don't know. That's hard to say. Tell us about your favorite YouTube channels. I always say that my 3 favorite YouTube channels are ContraPoints, or at least currently my 3 favorite YouTube channels are ContraPoints, Vlogbrothers, and Captain Disillusion. But I watch a lot of YouTube, so there's a lot of great YouTube channels that I really like. Most of what I've watched now is like various sort of like genre specific stuff. I watch a lot of gaming related stuff to games that I play. So like I play WoW, so I watch a lot of WoW channels. I play League of Legends, so I watch League of Legends channels. I like chess, so I watch a lot of chess channels. Just all kinds of stuff, really. I don't know, I'm looking at my homepage right now. I've been watching like I've been watching a lot of like Twitch culture clips, like, you know, like the big Twitch streamers. They have like their own little community and culture that kind of all like, they kind of, you know, they're not all together, but they all branch off and they're kind of like related to each other. It's really weird. Like Twitch has a really not tight knit, but like a really connected community among the creators. And I've been watching a lot of stuff like that just out of fascination, really. I watch a lot of D&D and tabletop RPG related stuff. What's the first thing you'll do after lockdown? I don't know, really. Obviously there's a lot of negative associations with COVID and quarantine and all that stuff, but I have more or less benefited or enjoyed it. Like being at home more has kind of inspired me to be a lot more productive and just spend more time thinking of ways to better myself. I don't know if it's had that effect on other people, but it's had that effect on me. What do you think of the supposed cancel culture that the right keeps talking about, focusing on Gina Carano but not mentioning Nathan J. Robinson? Who's Nathan J. Robinson? Is that just like a left-leaning person that got canceled or something? I mean, I did a video about cancel culture, and listen, the right and the centrists have been talking about cancel culture for going on like 10 years now. It's like nothing new at this point. They may have not always called it cancel culture, but they always talk about, you know, attacks on free speech, public shaming, and all that stuff. I think it's a very complex issue. Like most issues are complex. When we're talking about, like, I feel like when we talk about Gina Carano, or however you pronounce that, I think that's a very specific case from what I understand. First of all, like, when people are like shitty online, like, I feel like we spend way too much time worrying about what other people online say. Like, I don't care what this random actor says online, really. And then a lot of times I think people exaggerate what people are doing sometimes just to make things seem worse than it is. I think people do that with conservatives a lot. But in her case, from what I understand, she's like overtly political and controversial, and Disney generally does not like people that they work with to do that. And from what I understand, she had been warned by Disney to stop, and she didn't stop, and that's why she got fired. So it's not like, I don't know if this is cancel culture. This is like someone breaking the terms of their contract. So that's a very specific case, I feel like. But in general, this idea that free speech is under attack, I think that's complete nonsense. I feel like speech is more free these days than it has ever been. But the idea that people try to cancel people try to silence people try to get people fired, that clearly is a thing. People acting like that's not a thing. Like, some people say cancel culture doesn't exist. Obviously, it's real. People do that. They do. It's disingenuous to claim that people don't do that. And I think it's bad to do that. Like, first of all, like, I think people should not care as much as they do, you know, about what random people online are talking about. But to sort of place yourself as this sort of moral authority that gets to decide whether other people get to keep their jobs and stuff, I think that's bizarre to me. Am I into sports? I like sports. The only sport that I really keep up with, though, is college football. NCAA American college football. But I like sports. I like the idea of sports, but I don't really follow. I love your content. I'm relatively new sub, but I really like your videos. Very insightful. I appreciate that. I predict Trump loses the Republican nomination in 2024 and tries to run third party. It's possible. I feel like I could be wrong. I honestly am usually wrong when we're talking about Trump. But I think that Trump doesn't necessarily want to be the president as much as people think he does. I think he just doesn't like to admit that he lost at something or that he failed at something. But once people stop caring, I feel like he's gonna stop pursuing it. But if he does run, like I said, I feel like it's unlikely that he'll win. And if he does run third party, that's going to severely fracture the Republican vote, almost guaranteeing that they lose, I feel like. Like, even more so than any other third party vote. Like, I could see him getting a pretty decent chunk of the vote, like 8-9%, maybe even 10% of the vote. Obviously not nearly enough to win, but enough to really, and this is a case where you know it's all Republican voters. Like it's not, he's not going to take any Democrat votes. Who do I play games on? Mostly PC. How old am I? 35. I believe that's probably older than most of my viewers. Although I do have a decent amount of viewers that are closer to my age and older. And a lot of the older viewers I feel like are the most engaged viewers as well. How's the weather up there? I know it is supposed to get to below freezing tonight. It hasn't been that bad during the day, but tonight it's supposed to get below freezing. It might already be starting to get cold. It's 35 degrees here. Which is apparently 2 Celsius for my non-Americans, but so that's already getting around freezing, but it's supposed to get like to like 20 tonight. Nathan Robinson got fired from Guardian because he criticized funding for Israel. Oh, I think I did hear about that actually. But yeah, I mean, it's all of these. Oh, Miles became a homie. Thank you for supporting the channel. All these people crying about free speech is very clearly a one-sided thing. This is very common among conservatives and to some extent people on the left as well, but like they basically want the rules to not apply to them. They want the rules to apply to other people but not to them. Just got into your stuff recently. You got me into trying to form my own nuanced takes. Hope your break is chill. Appreciate that. Thank you. How are you feeling today? I'm pretty good. Just been chilling hard. Consequences culture might be coming, but sometimes it's didn't read the terms and conditions culture. True. Or it could be read the terms and conditions but think they shouldn't apply to you for some reason. Discovered your channel recently. I just wanted to say I love your videos, especially your ones about race and culture. You have awesome content. Appreciate that, Ella. Hey, what's up, man? I found you through old Smashboards posts, oddly enough. That's that's pretty interesting. I haven't been on Smashboards in a while. Is that even still a thing? But yeah, I used to be very active on Smash Brothers because I was a competitive Smash player. But I don't play that much Smash these days. Do I have a favorite meal to feel happy? Probably fried rice. According to Wikipedia, Nathan Robinson was neither a staff employee nor on contract and so was not fired. Is that the case? That's another thing about these cases, even going back to the Gina Carano thing. A lot of times when people tell me stuff, I have to take it with a grain of salt because I feel like there is always some detail that people either leave out or they don't know because they're just kind of like saying something because they know the headline but they don't know the full story. So it's really hard to even like participate in a lot of these conversations without knowing the full context. Who's my main in Smash? In Smash Ultimate, my main is Ike. When I used to play competitively, I played in Melee and Brawl. I main Peach in Melee and I main Snake in Brawl. I played Smash 4 a decent amount, but Smash 4 is definitely my least favorite Smash Brothers game. But in that game, I main Falco, if you would like to know. And Falco was bad in that game. Maybe that's why I didn't like it, because my character was bad. But no, that's not why. That's not why. Any other fighting games I'm into? Yeah, I love fighting games. I think currently on my computer I have Street Fighter 5, Dragon Ball FighterZ, Tekken 7. I also have Guilty Gear, Xrd, whatever, one of those. And probably some other stuff. I think Tekken 7 is probably like my favorite fighting game of the past like 10 years. It's amazing. I like Street Fighter 5 a lot too. That's probably the game that, like, on my Steam account, the game that I put the most hours into is Street Fighter 5. Oh, what's up, Josh? Have I looked at Valheim? I've heard about it. I feel like I saw somebody streaming it. But yeah, I don't really know that much about it. Have I ever visited any other countries? No. I was born in Germany because I was an army kid, but I left there when I was very young. Do you have any opinions on Parler being taken down? Although I hate the site, I do think it's scary that Amazon and Google essentially control speech these days. I don't think that it's true that they control speech. They control their platforms, but those platforms are not the only places that speech happen. Also, speech isn't and shouldn't be completely unfettered and without consequence. So obviously, you know, we should keep an eye on these companies and make sure they're not overreaching. But if, for example, I don't know the exact cited reason for Parler being shut down, but if this site is being used largely as like a place to plan, you know, terrorist attacks, for example, I'm totally okay with shutting that down, you know? Oh, Mary's here too. What's up? When are we gonna watch A Bug's Life? I wish that I could do a watch party on stream without getting destroyed by copyright strikes. What is your favorite scary movie? Probably The Shining. It's my favorite Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson movie. That's really hard. They're all certified classics. There's actually a few The Rock movies that I haven't seen. I'm sure they're not like amazing or anything, but I still want to see them because I love The Rock. Like Skyscraper, isn't that one? I haven't seen that. I really like this is an older The Rock movie called The Rundown. It has Christopher Walken in it. It's fucking cool. What's up, Munchie Crackers? Heard they're adding the cast of A Bug's Life to Smash. Thoughts on Dune? I completely and utterly have missed out on Dune. I don't know anything about Dune whatsoever. I think because I didn't like read a lot growing up. So a lot of these like primarily like novel-based franchises, I just don't know anything about them. Currently playing Tekken 7. Who's your main? My main is Miguel. What's a food I haven't tried that I want to? I don't know about any specific foods, but I do want to just try different like genres of food, like food from different countries and stuff, because I haven't really explored that too much. But I'm trying to think of like a specific food. But yeah, I don't know. I would like to try a lot of like food from like different cultures and countries and stuff, because I've never really done that. Hulu and Amazon both have watch parties, never tried them. Yeah, I don't know if you can stream it though. The book was not great, but the story is amazing. That's kind of how I feel about the Star Wars movies. I feel like the overall like world and story is really cool, but like the movies themselves are like mostly bad to average. I will make you Filipino food. Yeah, see, I would love that. After we watch A Bug's Life. You can stream it on Twitch. Me and Mary make you some Korean food. I think you made me Korean food one time a long time ago, Josh. I love your style, no bias. What you say is the difference between non-racist and anti-racist? Well, I feel like that's something that's been talked about a lot, but I mean, you can sort of infer that one of them implies more proactive action, but I don't know that I feel like there's this everyone's like it's not enough to be non-racist, you have to be anti-racist. And honestly, man, when it comes to white people, I'll take non-racist. If that's the best you can do, I'll take it. Andrew, you're 52. Yeah, I think you told me that before. No, or you told me that you're one of the older viewers. Does T1J have Twitch? I have a Twitch, but I don't use it. I feel like there's no reason to, because all of my audience is on YouTube. So whenever I stream on Twitch, there's like nobody there. So it's like, what's the point of doing that when I can just come on YouTube and people will actually watch? Star Wars borrowed heavy from Dune. Interesting. I didn't even know that Dune. Well, actually, Dune was like the 60s. That came out like the 60s, right? Exploring food is great. I cope with lockdown by trying to learn recipes from other places, just picking one and starting there. Yeah, I do a pretty decent amount of cooking. I haven't explored that much of different recipes. I'm basically just trying to nail down like the basics, just to like be able to put together something that is okay without having to like, you know, buy expensive or rare ingredients. But yeah, I've been learning a lot about food and cooking and stuff, but nothing too exotic. Have I developed any hobbies during quarantine? I don't think I've developed any new hobbies, but I have doubled down on things that I was doing before and doing them more, like cooking, for example. I've been playing a lot more chess. I have a random thing. Yeah, like Russian. I never had Russian food, I don't think. Did you see any of the Vosh versus Destiny debate, and what's your opinion? Well, they did a new debate. I haven't seen it. I don't think I want to see that, to be honest. They come off as like, at least in the past, whenever they debate each other, they come off as like, you know, like when you see like a couple that just argues nonstop, but you can tell that they like still love each other. That's kind of how they seem to me. And it's kind of obnoxious to me. Ordered the biggest dang pizza. Where'd you get the pizza from? Basmati rice and add salsa. I could see that being good. Salsa can be weird to me, but you can like make your own salsa. I started watching you 3 weeks ago, and I have been amazed it has helped my channel content. Cool. I'm glad it helps. I'm pretty open when it comes to food too. I'm not super picky, and I probably would try anything. I mean, there's obviously things that I like more than other things. The only food that I just straight up refuse to eat is olives. I think olives are absolutely disgusting. But that's the only thing that I just like straight up will not eat. There are other things that I don't prefer, like I'm not super into peas or beets, but I'll eat them if they're there. What happened to my audio? I mean my video. My camera cut off? Did I get unplugged here? last time that happened is because the camera got unplugged, but it's not unplugged right now, so that might happen again. I think it did get unplugged. Alright, my bad. But yeah. I'll try anything. And olives are gross. To recap. If I may recap. Hold on, I'm gonna it's hot in here for some reason, even though it's cold outside. I'm gonna turn my ceiling fan on. Alright, my bad. What other topics are you considering for your upcoming videos? I have a list. I actually have a little post-it app on my computer that you've probably seen those apps so you can put post-it notes on your desktop. And I have a list of literally like 40 different ideas, some of which will probably never get made. But whenever I come up with even like a little idea, I just write it down. But I don't know. One of the things I'm trying to accomplish with my channel is to just have a video about like any sort of basic topic relating to race, especially race in America and racism in America. Just like cover all of the basics so that I can have something to like refer someone to whenever there is a question about certain things. Because most of the things that people, this is something I realized, and I think this is part of the reason why my channel has started to catch people's attention, because a lot of the stuff that I talk about seems very basic and like old news to me, but a lot of people just never really have thought about it ever because they just don't have to. And also there's nobody that's really talking about it. I think the more so these days people are talking about it. But a lot of times it's hard to communicate with people who don't already know what you're talking about. So that's kind of what I'm aiming for. But I also want to talk about other things. I don't want every single video to be about racism. Although most of them these days are. Really like your videos. I love your voice. Keep posting videos. Appreciate that, Carly. Cereal before the milk or milk before the cereal? I don't know what kind of person puts the milk in before the cereal. Like, that's wild to me. A 101 series, yeah, essentially. I know that some of the elitists on Reddit, they say that my channel is too like basic and dumbed down, but like I said, a lot of people have just like never thought about this stuff, so to them I think it might be very enlightening. And I think it's even people who have thought about these things, I think that it's I think it's still good to have sort of like a refresher, or to even like introduce maybe small new ideas that you didn't think about, or a different way to think about things. How do you get a more worldwide view without reading books? I don't like books, that's why. Well, books are cool. I think you should give books a try. But there's this thing called the internet that has pretty much an infinite amount of information on it. It does require some reading, unfortunately, but it isn't a book. What about all the criticism that goes like, shut up about race already by Morgan Freeman? I hear that and I don't know how to respond to them to deduce that they just don't care. Well, I actually did a video very like responding to that direct quote from Morgan Freeman. Although, you know, after looking at it more, I think that is sort of taken out of context. But yeah, I mean, to me, it's the idea of people saying that they don't see race, they're colorblind. I don't think that's the way to be, because race exists, racism exists, it's in the world, and people should see it. People should not be blind to it. And I don't think that problems go away by not talking about them. So to me, that just seems like a wrong-headed approach in general. Now, I don't really put any pressure on individuals. You get to do what you want to do in your own life. If you find that these conversations are too stressful and too hard for you to deal with, you know, live your life. I can't really be too worried about that sort of thing. But don't yell at other people who are trying to solve these problems. I do coffee and cereal. That seems fine. I mean, cereal, I mean, I've heard of a lot of different things to mix cereal with, and some people swear by it. Like I know some people that put orange juice in cereal, and that seems like it could work depending on the cereal. I know at least one person that puts water in cereal. That seems disgusting to me. But I will say I've never tried it, but I don't really desire to try it because it sounds bad. Things I learned from your channel are basic things that no one ever has taken the time to teach me. I appreciate what you do, Heiko. Thank you. And honestly, like my channel, I mean, 101, you know, I guess that's a decent descriptor, but as I've said many times, I don't think my channel is like supposed to be like educational. It's not supposed to be like a academic class. Like, it's not supposed to be like, hey, here's some facts. Sometimes they are. Like I recently did a video that were basically facts about police brutality and such, but my channel is mainly just to get people thinking. And if you get to thinking and you feel like you disagree, then that's cool too, as long as you thought about it in a honest way. What I do for Valentine's Day? Absolutely nothing. Although I did hang out with someone on Friday. That was basically my Valentine's Day. How's the league climb? Let's get back to silver 3. I'm in silver 2. Honestly, it's been going really well so far. Like I told you before, I just spam Garen, and I have like a 65% win rate right now. I've been wrecking people. It is starting to get a little harder, and people are starting to play like actual good champs. I feel like once you cross over to silver 2, that's when it starts to get a little more difficult, at least for me. You start to get people that actually like have an idea of what they're doing, or they're just playing like really hard to deal with champs. Like I've played against so many Darius's top, but I've still been winning most of my matches, so it's been going pretty good. I'm pretty confident that I can get gold pretty easily, and then we can go from there and see how that works. Should the 6-year term? Should the 6-year of terms of senators be shortened? I don't know. I mean, it's fine, I guess. I don't really know. I think 6 years seems fine. But I do think that they should have a limited number of terms. I don't like that they can just keep getting reelected forever. Beer and Rice Krispies. Snap, crackle, burp. What do I like about Birmingham? I don't know. I feel like it's a pretty chill town compared to a lot of larger towns, which I kind of prefer. I think the one thing that's cool about Alabama in general is you don't have if you like nature and you like being outside, or you like outside type stuff, you don't have to go too far to really put yourself in a like really pleasant atmosphere. You don't have to drive too far to get to the beach. You don't have to drive too far to get to really cool hiking spots or camping spots, things of that nature. That's really cool if you're into that sort of thing. Every now and then I get into that sort of thing. I am definitely more of an indoors person, but sometimes it's cool to be out in nature. I don't know. I feel like I kind of see Birmingham as like, it's like a city. It's like at the part in its lifespan of a city, like right before it, like goes over the hill and becomes like a tourist city, like Nashville or New Orleans or something. So it's got a lot of the cool stuff that those cities have without all of the annoying tourists. Yeah, I actually need a secondary, Josh, when Garen is banned. I've been playing like Malphite, but and I usually still do pretty well with him, but I don't quite know how to finish the game, because I think he's very like reliant on the team. Whereas with Garen, I can just like run people down and kill them by myself. Smooth or crunchy peanut butter? I like smooth peanut butter. I've heard that there's some kind of stigma associated with smooth peanut butter, but whenever I eat crunchy peanut butter, all of the fucking peanuts get like stuck in my gums and shit. Maybe that's just my teeth are fucked up. Should Waluigi be in Smash? I think he should be in Smash. I think that the fact that he's not playable in Smash is hard trolling on the part of Sakurai and Nintendo. obviously he's an assist trophy, but I feel like they have made him a main enough Nintendo character. I mean, granted, he doesn't have a game, but he's all over the place. He's always there when they're fucking playing golf or playing, you know, Mario Party, Mario Kart. Maybe they consider him not a main character, but I feel like he's kind of a main character. Yeah, I feel like Darius is gonna get banned most of the time. I was thinking something troll like Teemo or something, just like have an easy lane phase and just try to win the game off of that. What do you hope to achieve with your platform? How would you introduce your content to someone who didn't know you? I don't know. I mean, I've mentioned a little bit before in the stream, but I think the most general basic idea of my channel is, hey, let's have some discussions about social issues and political issues, which may be controversial sometimes, but let's do it in a way that's thoughtful and civil, and let's do it in a way that doesn't forget to show compassion for people and doesn't forget that human beings are complex, and even when we disagree with people, or even when people have ideas which may be bad, that doesn't negate their complexity. That's kind of my thing, I guess. More specifically, especially recently, as of like the last couple of years, I've focused on race-related issues, because I just feel like that kind of there hasn't been that many people that are talking about it in a way that I think people should be talking about it. But there are other things as well that I think are worth talking about. Oh yeah, Camille. Yeah, I'm trying to pick like easy champs. That's kind of, I think that's part of my strategy for climbing, is just pick super easy brain dead champs. Just found your channel, have been loving your content. Appreciate that, Brad. MOBAs just seem entirely impenetrable to me. Well, I think MOBAs are hard, for sure. Well, League of Legends is hard, and Dota is hard. There are probably easier MOBAs out there, but I think it's a game that you can very quickly at least start having fun with it. Especially if you have people to play with, they can sort of guide you and you can start having fun very quickly. If you want to like actually be like good and competitive and like climb the ranks and stuff, that takes like, I think that takes some pretty like serious practice and research, which not everybody really wants to do for a video game. I'm a really competitive person. I like learning how to become good at stuff, so it's kind of right up my alley, but I know not everybody is like that. By the way, you mentioned it's -2 Celsius. Well, it's -8. Well, it's not -2, it's +2 here, which is like 35, and it's good, but I guess it's about to be like, it's supposed to get down to 20, which I believe is -Celsius. Yeah, it definitely is. But currently, I think it's still in the positive. I don't think we're supposed to get any snow, but it is going to be freezing. And I need to remember to let my faucets drip because they will freeze up. It's happened multiple times before. Been drinking a lot of smoothies. What kind of smoothie are you like? I haven't had a smoothie in a while. I used to make, well, when I was like really into like working out, which I'm trying to get back into, but I used to make these like protein shakes, which are similar to smoothies. but they were basically like vanilla strawberry protein shakes. So something like that would be pretty cool. Do I plan on doing any environmental related videos? Possibly. It's not a subject that I feel like I'm very well versed on. And I also am not quite sure what I would say about it that hasn't been already said. I think that's something that you need a lot of knowledge and background knowledge to really tackle. So if I were to do a video about that, I'd have to do a lot of research. Oh, it's supposed to get to 16. Wow. Last I checked, it said like, or I just Googled like weather tonight and it popped up like 20 something, but I didn't know about 16. Yeah, Heroes of the Storm is a lot easier than League for sure. But I think it's still a game that if you wanted to get really good at it, you would have to put in a lot of research and practice. But yeah, it's designed to be more accessible to newer players. Yeah, we're gonna have to break out the space heaters. We try not to use the like main central heat in the apartment, so we each have like space heaters that we kind of turn off and on as we need them. But sometimes the space heaters aren't enough. You gotta turn on that heat. What's your opinion on Jordan Peterson? Well, to be honest, I haven't kept up with Jordan Peterson in a while. My main interaction, or my main, knowledge of Jordan Peterson was just the brief time where he was like really all over the place. And in that case, in that time, when he was talking about politics a lot, it seemed like almost everything he said about politics was really either bizarre or like, borderline bigoted. But I don't know, like I think a lot of people tried to make him out to be some kind of like proto-Nazi or something, and I don't think was probably a fair characterization of anything he said. I think he's just or at least like whatever the closest thing to a conservative is in Canada, because I think he still held what in America would be considered more liberal or left-wing views. Like I think he was probably pro like socialized healthcare, things like that. Why are discussions about racial prejudice, discrimination so politicized in your opinion? I don't know, you might need to elaborate on the question, because it seems like those kinds of conversations are necessarily politicized. How could they not be politicized? What spiritual practices help you with the heavy topics you approach? Well, I don't really describe anything I do as spiritual, but I think just sort of self-care in general is just a good thing to do. Even though I talk about politics and stuff a lot on my channel, it is by no means the only thing that I'm interested in or the only thing that I pay attention to. I hope that's not the case for anybody who does politics for a living, because that's a very easy way to just drive yourself just loony. In fact, more recently these days, I follow the news way less than I used to, because it's just stressful, and just in general, like I think for one, I'm just, I don't know if I don't want to say lucky, but just the the sum of experiences in my life has resulted in me being a very easygoing and chill person. Usually pretty able to interact with difficult situations without getting worked up or too stressed out. But I still make a pretty conscious effort to avoid drama and stress in my life, and I think there's just like physical self-care things, like trying to be healthy and trying to hydrate and meditate and exercise, things like that. I recently subscribed and it made me notice that I'm subscribed to very few black creators. It made me notice I don't get recommended black creators. I subscribe to mostly science, engineering, history, math type channels. How is this related to the algorithm versus the demographics of creators in general and in those spheres? Well, I think the algorithm, I mean, obviously no one really understands the algorithm, but if I had to guess, I think that the algorithm strongly suggests or strongly makes correlations based on audiences. And a lot of black creators have either, if not primarily, large black audiences. And so the algorithm might consider black creators a different genre than other types of creators, even if they're talking about the same types of subjects. Because even I'm familiar with a few black creators, but even more recently, I've been discovering people with like 300K, 400K subscribers who I just had no idea existed. Because I just, I wasn't shown them and no one recommended them to me. I think more recently, I'm starting to, like, people who watch my videos are starting to be shown more of that stuff. But I don't think it was the case before, because I think my channel was associated with people that had similar audiences, or basically I think a lot of my audience came from other people who made similar content who weren't necessarily black people. So like way back in the day, I think it was like maybe Vlogbrothers, maybe people like Marina Watanabe, and then after that is maybe people like Sean and ContraPoints. So I think that's why a lot of people watch my content never got suggested other black creators. But I think it's starting to happen more, because even when I go to my homepage, like, I don't know if this happens to, I guess it probably doesn't happen to you if you don't have a YouTube channel, but if you go to the homepage, or if I go to the homepage, sometimes it'll suggest channels, and it'll say people who watch your channel also watch this channel. And a lot of times it's a channel that I already like. So it'll be like Jenny Nicholson is one that pops up, Lindsay Ellis, Cat Black, Philosophy 2. But then more recently, I've been starting to see a lot of like creators I just never even heard of before. And a lot of times they are black creators. I'm trying to see if one pops up now. I'm going to my homepage real quick. I don't see one. You consider ever making the janitor comic or any form of media related to the character? Well, not anytime recently. I mean, back in the day, one of my dreams was to make comics for a living, but I just kind of moved on to other types of content. Why are discussions and perception regarding racial prejudice so different across party lines? Well, I think that I think it's I think it's like a multi-part answer that I don't even know if I could fully answer, but for one, America obviously has a history with racism, and I think that the Republican Party sort of like thrives on the, I don't know how to describe it, like a lot of the tenets that sort of define the American Republican Party are like racist, basically. So they can't like meet in the middle with anti-racist activists, because that would require them admitting that, you know, half their shit is racist. Things like, you know, the whole law and order idea, and not even just racist, but just kind of like bigoted. A lot of the Christian conservatism is like very anti-woman, anti-LGBT. And this is not to say that the Democrats are like angels when it comes to race, but their party platform is very clearly not like specifically based on racism. Also, I think that Republicans understand that people with sort of outdated racist attitudes make up a significant portion of their constituents, and they probably don't choose to alienate them. I think there's this sort of like old school sort of traditionalist, back in the good old days type of mentality that I think is really permeates conservatism in America. And so this idea that, you know, this idea about privilege and maybe some of your success you got because of your race, or maybe, you know, maybe you're not as cool, or maybe your grandparents or maybe the founding fathers weren't as cool as you thought they were. Like, that's like really hard to deal with, I feel like. And I'm sure there's a more eloquent way and more other things to say about that, but that's just off the top of my head. Like, especially when I watch like conservative media, like whenever you watch like Ben Shapiro or Fox News, or if you listen to Rush Limbaugh, they seem to have a very vested interest in completely dismissing the idea that racism is a problem. Like, they don't even say like maybe it's a little bit of a problem. They completely dismiss it outright. And to me, that signifies that they understand that they need to like protect this narrative and counter it in any way, shape, or form, like or at least counter that idea of like racism and all that stuff. What advice would you give to a white person whose close black friends stopped talking to them last summer because they want to focus their energy on their black friends instead? I mean, I don't know. That's kind of weird to me, but a thing that you just kind of always have to remember across the board, not even in situations like that, is you can't control what other people are going to do. And you should try really hard not to stress yourself out about a thing that you have no control over. And generally, when we're talking about the actions of other people, you usually have no control over that. But I'm sure that, if it was like a really close friend, that kind of sucks. But if it was a close friend that really cared about you, they'll probably be back at some point. And if they don't, to me, that seems really weird. Doesn't seem like a very friend-like thing to do. But there's a lot of people out there. You can make other friends. I think I actually followed you on Twitter long before YouTube, and I suggested your channel from someone else I follow on YouTube. I wonder how our complicated online lives often have webs that lead back over each other, feedback algorithms. But yeah, I often wonder how many people follow me on Twitter without following me on YouTube first. Because I assume that most of the people who follow me on Twitter did so because they were already fans of my YouTube channel. But I think there are a few people that follow me on Twitter independently. In your opinion, what does dismantling oppressive systems look like in the U.S.? Well, I don't really know because we haven't really tried to do it yet. I think the first step is trying something. And I mean, in certain individual cases, yeah, we've tried things, but it just has to become a priority, and we have to go in and we have to investigate every institution and figure out where the problems are. And if we have to like kick everybody out and start over, then we do that. I don't really know like the data on what's been proven to be effective when it comes to that, but maybe there's something like we need to make sure that every executive and every management person in the workplace takes a sensitivity course and has like routine evaluations. We need to, maybe the mayors of cities across America need to completely reinstate, new police chiefs that have been vetted for this kind of thing. There can be routine investigations just to see if race is being used in a negative way to discriminate against people. I don't know, but we gotta at least start somewhere. Am I a socialist? No. How much do you think capitalism is at the root of injustice? I feel like injustice as a whole is a very broad term. I think different types of injustice are rooted in different things. I think that our system, which greatly favors the rich and greatly favors corporations over workers and consumers, is very clearly a cause for the large amount of inequality. But I don't necessarily think that that system is necessary for capitalism. And I also think that other types of injustice are, or at least have roots that are somewhat unrelated to capitalism. Like, I don't think that capitalism is what makes people racist, for example. And that's an issue that will have to be just, you know, tackled in a complex way. I don't know what libertarian municipalism is. Overturning Citizens United is one thing that should be done, but that's just one thing of many things that should be done. Like, Citizens United is more related to elections and like fair elections than to economic inequality, I feel like, but it's definitely something that should be done. And I do think that economic inequality is kind of what leads to that sort of political influence being even possible. Yeah. What's the most important advice you have to give? I don't know. There's so many different aspects of life. I think the most important advice that I have to give is to stay Heiko. Be honest, be assertive, be kind, and be open-minded. Do I play any instruments? Not really. A long time ago I tried to learn how to play the guitar, but I didn't really get too far with it. But I know like some chords and stuff. But do I actively play any instruments? No. Do I like drinking tea? Tea's fine. I don't drink it that much though. I feel like I was talking nonstop for like 30 minutes. So yeah, hopefully when I get back into the grind of videos again, I'll get back into the grind of live streams. Normally my live streams are on Mondays and Fridays, but generally they're just kind of whenever I feel like doing them. But when I do them, they're usually on Monday and Friday. Perhaps at some point I will have like a very solid schedule and a solid time. I like to mix up the time though, because different, sometimes different people might not be able to make it one week, but maybe they can make it the next week if I do it a little earlier. Favorite type of food. Favorite type of food? I don't know. Meat. My favorite dishes are fried rice and fried chicken. Particularly chicken fingers. I feel like that's the best version of fried chicken. Peko is honest, assertive, kind, and open-minded. Do you have any videos about injustices in rural areas? That's a hard word to say. Rural areas. I don't think I have any videos about that. There may have been very small mentions of that, depending if it was related to a topic that I was making a video about, but I don't think I have a video very specifically about that. But yeah, it's it looks like the chat has slowed down, so we can, and it's already been close to 2 hours, which is about how long I wanted to stream. So if there are any like last comments and questions, I can hang out for about 15 more minutes, maybe 10-15 more minutes. Do I generally prefer centralized or decentralized power? It probably depends on the situation. I think that any type of power there should be very, very specific, checks to that power, even if it is centralized. But I don't think that in any hierarchical situation, I don't think it always needs to be that way. Am I a car guy? I never was. More of a plane guy. Plane guy? Really? I like cars, but I don't know that much about cars. Certainly don't know anything about planes. Favorite ice cream flavor? Cookies and cream. To me, at least in my experience, I feel like no other flavor is even close to cookies and cream. I feel like it's so much better than everything I've ever had. Do you watch Thought Slime? If so, any opinions, pro, con, or otherwise? John J, thank you for the $5. Thanks for the Monday stream. Appreciate it. I have seen a couple of Thought Slime videos. I think overall Thought Slime is pretty cool. Seems like a pretty cool dude, and he's made, I haven't watched in a while, but he's made some videos that I thought were like really good. I think that he falls into the thing that a lot of leftists do, where they're like very dismissive of people who aren't leftists. And as a person who's, not a socialist, I can find that pretty off-putting. but I haven't seen the majority of the content. I'm sure most of it is fine, but that was the only thing that was like kind of off-putting to me. But that happens a lot with leftist channels, is they have this sort of like we're the smart ones mentality, and some of them are like actively hostile to liberals, and they even use the word liberal as if it's like a bad word and it's like a bad thing to be. And then other ones are like, oh, those poor liberals, they're just brainwashed, they just don't know any better, and it can get pretty condescending. And I've seen Thought Slime do that before. And that's just, I don't know, I just feel like that's just not a good thing to do with your platform and your content. But other than that, he's fine. And like in general, he seems like a cool guy, just in general. I've heard you play WoW. How are you finding the new expansion? Is it worth making a return, a lift, or a BFA? I really like the new expansion, actually. It is so much better than BFA. BFA, I didn't even really like BFA that much. But this one is good. I like it a lot. It may be a little bit weird getting in, late, but I think if you ever liked WoW, you'll probably like it. But yeah. Favorite alcoholic beverage? I guess whiskey. Is there a reason why you have the like and dislike options disabled on your videos? There is a reason. If you want like the full reason, if you go to any of my videos and look into the description, there's a blog post that explains it. But the main thing is I just don't. I feel like it doesn't do anything useful. And it doesn't provide me with any useful feedback. And also, on the rare occasion, it doesn't happen that much these days, but it used to happen a lot more, where some shitlord on the internet will like either tweet about my video or make a video about my video, make a response video to me, and people will just come and dislike it without watching it. So my experience is that the like dislike bar is just the only effect that it has is negative. So I figure just get rid of it. And yeah, and as you mentioned, or to correct you, it is not disabled, it is just hidden. You can still click on it. Beyond the off-putting nature of that sort of leftist attitude, are there particular reasons you steered away from socialism? Because I like a lot of the tenets of capitalism. I like competitive markets, and I think that people should be able to profit off things if they work hard and have good ideas. And I am okay with private ownership of the means of production. Why are you you? Why do you do what you do? Explain yourself in great detail. Well, obviously that can't be done. Why am I me? I think it's a philosophical question that maybe is maybe only a therapist can answer. What's up, Alfredo? Basically winding down the stream at this point. I mean, if there are more comments and questions, I could go for a little longer, but the chat has sort of slowed down. That water bottle is dope. Yep, I specifically wanted a gallon water bottle, so I just got this giant water bottle. It's just a good way to remind me to drink water every day. And this one even has like little markers on it to show you. I don't know if you can see, but just to like help you keep track of it. I don't really use those, but I think this bottle needs to be clean though. I don't wash it that much. I probably should. I feel like you just putting water in it should be fine, right? But looks pretty dusty. I feel like Superman gets a bad rap. Yeah, for those that watch my video, my Q&A video, I talk about how I like Superman. I think sometimes Superman isn't written well, but when he is written well, I think he's a really captivating character. What's my favorite vegetable? Maybe broccoli? Asparagus is pretty good too. Spinach? One of those. There's no need to be hostile to people who are philosophically aligned with you on a bunch of issues. Yeah. I mean, I think there's no need to be condescending to anyone, really. Unless they're like actively being a dick to you. But I think the thing is that a lot of leftists on the internet, they act as if what they're doing is like preparation for like an actual like political shift, if not outright revolution, and they feel like they have to draw a line in the sand at some point, which sounds creepy to me, but that's the sense that I get from a lot of people. You're forever pissing with those bottles. Well, that's good. If you're peeing a lot because of water, that means you're probably properly hydrated. If you're peeing a lot because of something else, then that might be a problem. But if it's just because you drink a lot of water, that's probably okay. Am I planning to climb any specific division this year? I don't know. I mean, I'm pretty confident I can get gold again, so I guess the goal is plat this season. But I don't know if I'm good enough to get plat yet, but I have been tearing through silver so far, so I just don't play that much. I play like 2 games, 1-2 games a day. I'm trying to drink more water. I used to be a big soda guy. Yeah. Yeah, when I just have this big water bottle next to me at my computer, I just naturally drink it. You could also try like they sell like 0-calorie flavorings if the taste is the reason. They sell 0-calorie flavorings that make water taste a lot better. You can like turn it into tea or something, like iced tea. I think the only problem is they might be bad for your teeth or something if you drink too much of it. And then, you can do your own research about sugar substitutes like aspartame and things like that. Some people say that they're bad for you. I tend to think they're not that bad for you, but you can give it a shot. consider the service honestly, but it's a little expensive. Yeah, I've actually I bought SkillCap for a little while. I mean, it's good. It's just basically like if you watch their YouTube channel, it's just that except more videos. And honestly, I feel like the content that they put on their channel basically covers most of the things that you need to know. But if you just want more of that, then that's what it is. That's literally what it is. And it's a little more organized, obviously. What's your opinion of affirmative action? I often get conflicted with this concept because I feel it wouldn't be colorblind equality. Well, yeah, I don't think that colorblind equality is what is needed right now because different people start at different starting points because of their race, often because of their race. So the point of affirmative action is to correct for discrimination. I think a lot of people think of affirmative action as like giving someone a boost, but it's not really doing that. It's correcting for them being behind to begin with. You can argue whether or not it does that. I don't really have the wherewithal to do that debate right now, but that's what it's for in concept. So, you know, if you can imagine the hypothetical of, you know, two people running a 100-meter dash or something, and one person is starting 50 meters behind the other person. Affirmative action is like, hey, we're gonna give you 50 meters so you can start equally with the other person. That's what affirmative action is for, and that seems fine to me. If we ever get to a point where the two people are starting on the same line, then we won't need affirmative action anymore, and in fact we should get rid of it at that point. But I don't think we're there yet. If we keep track of the data, I don't think we're there yet. I thought they did personal tutoring sessions. Maybe they do. I don't know. If they did, I didn't take advantage of that. I didn't know that was part of it. I don't think they do. If they do, that's got to be like. I know that you can like comment and write to the people, like leave a comment on the video and they'll respond. I don't know about personal tutoring though. I could be wrong. I interacted with it very casually. I just like went on the website and watched some videos and stuff. But yeah, Hector is pretty dope. He's like challenger level at all roles. It's pretty insane. One other thing that's pretty interesting about Alabama is like we randomly have some of the best tap water in America. I'm not exactly sure how that happened, but just for some reason our like filtration systems here are like really advanced and done, and well done. And so, in my opinion, the tap water here is fine. Like it tastes fine to me, but I understand it's not like that everywhere. Some traditional African religions like Ifa. I see lots of celebrities practicing like 21 Savage and Jay-Z and Beyonce. Yeah, I don't know anything about that. But yeah, if you want filtered water, it's not that expensive. You can invest in a water filtration thing for your sink if you like, or you can get like a water filter like container, or you can just go buy water. Like you can, I'm pretty sure you can get just like a big ass jug of filtered water for like $1 or something, right? I mean, I understand like if you just have no money whatsoever, then it's a bit hard, but I think in general, well, I can only speak for America, but in America, generally, you know, assuming you live in a place where the plumbing is working, tap water is safe, but it doesn't always taste good. That's one of the privileges of living in a developed country, is just literally unlimited access to safe water. It's crazy to when you come to understand that a lot of people in the world don't have that. Does being an atheist hurt your dating life? I mean, NY, and even then people are okay with it, but apprehensive. No, not really at all. I feel like most people, like my generation and younger, are either like atheist, agnostic, or apathetic, or non-practicing. I feel like that's more common in my age range than people being like actively religious to the point that they would be off-put by someone being an atheist. If it has hurt my dating life, no one has told me that. I'll just put it that way. I think I'm 22, but I think they think I'll be militant about it, even if I don't talk about it. I mean, possibly. I think I used to be pretty militant about it. But I feel like the era of militant atheism, maybe just because I'm not in the community anymore, but I just feel like that's like not as big of a thing as it used to be. Would I terminate religion if I could? Well, I mean, obviously, in that hypothetical, you have to consider a lot of things, like what would the effect be on people, things like that. But I do think that religion is bad and shouldn't exist. But I don't think you like pushing a button and getting rid of religion, if that would be a net positive for the world. Because I'm pretty sure most people are religious. So that would shake up a lot of shit. Could ruin a lot of people's lives. But I will say that many of the problems with the religion, and I've kind of learned this more over time, but many of the problems with the religion are not specifically unique to religion. Like the idea of sort of basically where you feel like you get to like believe whatever you want to believe, and just believing something is good enough, even if there's no evidence of it being true, or even if there's direct evidence to the contrary, which I think is very common with religion, but it's also very common outside of religion. But I do think that there are things specific with religion that can get really, really weird, and I think are just overall not great. And I think, when you say religion, I think different people might hear that word and think of different things. So a lot of times we have to really define our terms, because that's a thing that happens a lot when you criticize religion. The person will then say, "Well, that's not what I believe," or "That's not how I would describe religion." And it's like, okay, well, we need to take a step back and define our terms. Thoughts on astrology? I think it's not nonsense, but people legit get offended if you call it that. Yeah, I mean, astrology, I also think it's nonsense, and I think it's like pretty much any claim made by astrology I think it can be directly disproven just by, basic sort of observation of the cosmos. But I think that generally it doesn't hurt anyone. I mean, I think that sometimes people are really shitty about it, and people meme about how like certain fucking zodiac signs or whatever are better people than other people, or more worthy of being friends with or being partners with, and that gets really annoying. But overall, I think it's mostly just memes and people are just having fun. But I have experienced that people get mad when you say that it's nonsense, which is like, I don't know. I just like don't engage with it, I guess, because like I said, I don't think it hurts people for the most part. But I do think that it's nonsense. The only times that I dislike it is when people use it as an excuse to be shitty to people. And that goes with anything. But I think it is doubly annoying when people use something that's made up to be shitty to other people. Like religion. Football is religion. I think it literally is for people, for sure. I honestly, when I think about like a lot of religions, a lot of it just seems like a fandom. And it's just a matter of how much of an effect does it have, and is it actually hurting people? Just like, like what I said before, people believing shit that's like not true, or that there's no evidence of. That happens all across the board, even in football, people like believe that their team has a shot at the Super Bowl, even though all evidence points to the contrary. But that sort of belief doesn't really hurt anybody. Thoughts on the 5%ers in the Nation of Islam, homophobia, and anti-Semitism? I don't know exactly what kind of general thoughts you want. I mean, homophobia is bad. Anti-Semitism is bad. I think there has been a sort of historical legacy of homophobia and anti-Semitism within these religions, and especially within the black religions. And the black community in general, and I think that's a problem. But as far as religions go, I don't feel like those are any more bizarre or bad than the others. I think they're all kind of equally ridiculous to me. Yeah, well, I've noticed that um, people these days, especially even like left-wing people, have sort of taken a very agnostic role towards religion. But it's possible that that has caused politics to replace it. Everything is made up. Well, I mean, I think we're getting into like semantics there. The labels that we use to describe things are made up, but everything isn't made up. Like gravity, the word gravity is made up, but gravity is not made up. Gravity is just a thing that exists. You know, if you hold up something and drop it, it's gonna fall. It's not gonna fall because I said it's gonna fall. It's gonna fall because it just does. Because gravity exists. We didn't make it. We didn't create it. It was already there. Compare that to something like astrology. It's just completely made up. It's not based on anything. It doesn't predict anything. It's not real. Most of the claims of it can be disproven. It's made up. So I don't think it's fair to just say that everything's made up. Thoughts on Buddhism specifically? I don't know. I hesitate to talk on specific things because people, whenever you criticize something, people always say, well, that's not what it is. That's not what I believe. So a lot of times you need to get people to define exactly what they believe. Buddhism seems to be all about sort of distancing yourself from like the pursuit of pleasures, and it seems to be like the main idea is like the pursuit of pleasure and the pursuit of certain things in your life is what leads to suffering. And I find that completely bizarre. Buddhism seems less harmful than a lot of religions. But it's, Buddhism also has these sort of philosophies and tenets that are just kind of like, who says that these are right? Like, what is the basis for these tenets that people are supposed to follow? It just seems like people just, and I get, if you want to have a worldview like Heiko, that's something that I just kind of chose. I feel like you can sort of make an argument for why those are good, but I just don't see any specific reason why these tenets are any better than anyone else's. But these conversations get really philosophical really quickly, so it's hard to like talk about things a lot. My problem with that, it doesn't hurt people, is that mode of thinking being legitimized is a huge issue. The logical conclusion of that is stuff like QAnon. I mean, possibly. I feel like that's a unsubstantiated slippery slope, though, because it seems clear to me that QAnon does hurt people. Is NOI still screwing around with Scientology? That is a bad religion. It's like viewing people financially hardcore bad. Yeah, other religions do that too. It's always funny to me when people say like Scientology is bad, but that's the real bad religion. I mean, you could argue that Scientology is worse because the people who run it like know that it's a scam and a cult. I'm not so clear that that's true, but it's possibly true. But Scientology to me is no worse than Christianity or Islam. Like, anyone that says that Scientology is the only religion that scams people out of money has never seen a televangelist. Yeah, I mean, this is like the philosophy. At some point, you have to assume something as a given, and you know, our perception is it's limited to the extent that some things we just will never objectively know to be true or false. You know, you could even go as far back as I exist. Like, we cannot totally prove that, but one day someone sat down and was like, I think, therefore I probably exist. And it's like, we just have to assume that, because we don't know what else to do beyond that. I mean, we don't have to assume that, but in order for a lot of other arguments to work, we have to assume that. But that goes back to, we even have to define what it means to exist. So there's a lot of stuff that gets involved. I mean, I think philosophical discussions are fun, but I feel like they get exhausting after a while, especially if you want to get like real semantic with it. But there's a level at which you do have to assume things. Like, even the example that I gave, like, if you pick up like this, I have a file, if I drop it, it's like it's gonna fall. And if I do it again, I can't prove that it's gonna fall the next time that I do that. But I am so confident that it is. And there's just certain things that we have to assume based on what just seems to be reasonable. But I think that there are a lot of things that don't follow that. When we're talking about like astrology, certain tenets of religion, certain superstitions, they don't hold up to scrutiny. But that holds up to scrutiny because it does it every time. Well, I think that there are theories, and I'm not an expert on every single theory that has come out there before, but I'm sure it's not true that we can 100% prove that we can exist. But I think that most philosophers of today have come to the conclusion that we exist. There may still be some people who dispute that, but I mean, at some point we have to move on, I guess. And a lot of times arguments are only as good as the people that listen to them and find them compelling. And that's kind of all you can go off of. Like, I think at least in atheist circles, one of the most famous debates is there's just a debate on does God exist, I think. And it was I forgot all these people's names. Anyway, I can't remember the name, but if you're familiar with this, you may know what I'm talking about. But anyway, so the guy who was arguing in favor of there being a God, his argument is the Kalam argument. You probably know who I'm talking about just from that. He's like famous for using it. I can't remember his name though. What's his name? It's like Charles something. Anyway, he has a premise. Like the first premise is the universe began to exist. And then it's like anything that began to exist has a cause. That's kind of like the main premise. And that seems like, at least those premises, what you draw from that could be different, but that seems like a, you know, like it could be plausible. Yeah, William Lane Craig, that's what it is. But the guy that he was debating said, your first premise, the universe began to exist, is false. And listen, I'm not an expert on cosmology and astronomy and stuff. And trust me, my brain like explodes anytime I try to think about this kind of thing. But basically my point is, if you argue that anything that exists has a cause, or anything that began to exist has a cause, or that anything exists must have had a beginning, that would be compelling to a lot of people. But there may be people that it's less compelling to, and it's possible that it's just not true if someone has done the research on it. And you know, true in terms of science, it's not a fact. But I don't know, I think I muddled the whole point I was trying to make. But basically the idea is that different things are compelling to different people. And I truly don't completely understand it myself. But yeah, what's up, Adam? But I actually am going to end the stream now. Earlier the chat kind of slowed down, but then it started to pick up again. But I do actually need to go ahead and start getting dinner ready and start winding down for the day. But this is a cool discussion. Maybe we can talk about it another time. And yeah, but philosophy I think is really fun to talk about, but it can get really it gets really weird. Like it's like, okay, what does it mean to exist? What does it mean to mean something? It's like the fucking Bill Clinton argument where he says, he's like, it depends on what the definition of is. Yeah, if you guys want to talk about it in Discord, that'd be cool. theonejanitor.com/Discord, and I'll actually like pop in there every now and then if there's a discussion going. But I do need to go ahead and end the stream. So if you have access to the description box below the video, you can check there for all of my links and stuff, my social media. If you want to ask me any more specific questions, you can either email me or hit up Curious Cat. If you don't know, Curious Cat is just a little site where you can ask anonymous questions to people. CuriousCat.me/theonejanitor. Thanks for checking out the stream. Thanks to John for the super chat. Thanks to Miles for becoming a member. And I think we're done. Yeah, sorry, Adam. You got here like right as I was ending it. I was gonna leave earlier, but then we started a pretty interesting discussion about, I don't even know where it started, but it ended up in philosophy. But and honestly, like, I can leave the chat up for a little while if y'all just want to talk for a little bit among yourself, but I will have to cut it off in probably like 10 minutes or so. Anyway, I will see y'all next time. Hopefully, maybe I will stream again on Friday, so look out for that. Okay, bye-bye.